Greetings, friends. We are back for a Christmas stream. First thing I'm going to do is send the message out to all social media, so please give me a moment. Okay, I think I've posted everywhere, so we're ready to rock. The chat is not working, so if you said something, I may have missed it. Let me reopen that chat window and hopefully it'll work this time. Just getting a spinny circle of doom. CSCT that. Alrighty, so I had my Chinese buddy over for Christmas Eve and he played through the game. In fact, I still have it running. This is his game. He actually built a really massive fleet. He played for there's a new hard version. So it's 12 periods and the AI is tougher. He did quite well, and he built a massive fleet, which was cool to see everything he was trying. Also found a lot of translations that needed fixing, so we fixed a bunch of those. And we also, of course, spotted a bunch of little bugs to fix. So I already, before the stream, wrote those bugs down and put them into linear. All these orange ones are ones from, most of them are from yesterday. So I'm going to use his game to try to figure out some issues. Big The biggest bug is that the AI cartography ships don't actually seem to sell their maps. I think they're gathering maps, they're just not selling them. I need to prove that the corn farms still produce. One's empty. Discovery points none spawned in the last game, so I need to figure that out. I have a theory what's happening there. I have done this. It does seem to work. I did do this. It seems to work. Haven't seen that work because we didn't see any tutorials. Discover points, I mean. And yes, cartography and exploration are now distinct kind of upgrade paths instead of being overlapping upgrade paths. So we're gonna put a breakpoint on the AI's cartography ship to see what's going on. So the big quote-unquote secret of the AI in Fleet Tycoon is that they actually don't run the full simulation that your ships do. That is unnecessary overhead, and plus an AI would never, short of me coding all the logic and strategy of upgrading, AI would never naturally choose, the sensible upgrades. It would just take me a lot of time to program an AI to make sensible upgrade choices, and that it just doesn't serve the purpose. The purpose of the AI is just to provide pressure and to be a little bit of a teaching element, because you'll see their ships do the things that you're supposed to do. So like in the first level, you will see their fishing ships go to a fishing point, pick up fish, go to town, sell the fish. So the AI is not is a good teaching tool and provides that pressure of, oh, I got to earn some more money. It's more just interactive, more immersive than the prior quotas. There are right now there's several games that just use quotas, but oftentimes they're still wrapped in some kind of fantasy, like in Clover Pit. If you don't make quota, you fall into the pit, right? They don't explain exactly what the quota is, why you have to make it, to my knowledge. It's just that if you don't make quota, you die. So in this, adding the competitor ships and then the little intro stories that show up at the beginning of every run just gives you a little bit of context for why you're trying to beat your competitor. Just the fact that you're seeing another company's ships doing their stuff and you can see how much money they're earning, that just gives you that kind of social pressure to improve. So I'm starting to get this gut feeling that I forgot to finish writing the cartography AI because at the time I hadn't allowed the cartography AI to spawn when I wrote it because I knew that I wasn't ready for it. So I think I only half wrote it, and now I'm realizing, like 2 weeks later, that oh yeah, I didn't finish it because yeah, this is totally missing some things. So there is a competitor ship unit behavior base class. So the broadly, all AI ships have the basic capability of looking for a resource and getting that resource and finding a place to sell it and selling. But cartography works very differently, where you're just trying to go to an unexplored part of the world and you get map fragments for going there. So I did, it appears, write the logic for the AI ship to go to an unexplored area. So it chooses a random position, finds navigable, makes sure it's navigable, and then if it's successful, goes there. If it's not successful, it will simply return its current position just because it'll try again in a second. So it is smart enough to wander around, but since AI ships don't actually do the true cartography simulation, they may not be picking up map fragments. Now, what's confusing or interesting is that I see that their ship, which you unfortunately cannot see, but I can see that they have something in their cargo. Or, well, they may just have keys. It says count 1. Something's off. Something's not adding up. So, unfortunately, I cannot see, neither can you, because you can't see this debug window I'm actually looking at, but it sure seems like something is in the cargo, but that cargo is not taking space, which could very well be maps. But I don't recall, so I have a vague memory that I started writing the code for giving the cartography ship maps. But I think that's when I realized that I wanted to switch just the basic AI ship AI to basic ship AI to have a fundamental capability of just buying and selling instead of rewriting it per ship type. Okay, so once it arrives at its point, it will extract the resource from that point. So in this case, I'm providing it. I'm providing it a spot in the ocean, and then it would get a map fragment. Okay, so I think I do need to do a better simulation of gathering map fragments. Because right now, essentially, it would only be getting one map it's going to choose a random place in the world to go to and then pick up one map fragment, which is unlike how cartography works. It's whenever you're going through the fog of war, you're getting map fragments. Like if the AI was just unfortunate enough to choose spots that are super far apart, you would get just so few map fragments. Of course, they're not going to make any money selling. So I need to add to the cartographer simulation of just when they're moving, get map fragments just like a player does. And I can do it based off of cartography. So okay, so I have an idea what needs to be done there. So it's going to be in Chinese because he was playing Chinese. But I figure we can take a quick look at his game. So as you can see at the bottom here, why is the scale so bad? He had 6 ships, pretty darn cool. And it was really interesting because he actually did a lot of ships focusing on exploration. So he had a few fishing ships, and then these ships that are now idle. They were just going around and going to every shipwreck and picking them up, which was pretty cool and efficient. And he ended up picking a strategy of kept picking up these upgrades, which essentially gives you a bonus of gold based on how much gold is in your bank. So it's like interest, and then this is like a big giant version of that. So he essentially just had all his ships with this, and then on his skipper, and maybe he found it on his fleet. See if he found it on his fleet. Yeah, well, he found this one. So he was just making a bunch of passive income every time a period ended. Because so what ended up happening was, at one point he had a cartographer ship sell a whole bunch of atlases. So he earned like 7,000 gold in one shot. In one period, and then he just relied on the fact that he had a bunch of gold saved up to make gold later on. He was pretty excited that he figured that out. Fishing ships as well. these poor performing ships, they are. Okay, gotta fix that transition too. All the poor performing ships are the to go these two. It looks like were his exploration ships. So he was manually controlling those to find shipwrecks and treasure chests and such. I gotta write a note here. So I think I'm going to end his game here. So he had stopped at 19. I've been just looking at things. So yeah, he picked up a lot of waivers because he had been he's been picking up all the shipwrecks that's where waivers live. So you can see that his income was highly erratic because of this here. I'll just go chronologically. So in the beginning, he was just doing fishing. He wasn't doing very well. The AI was consistently getting better, better, better. He even lost the period. Then he got back on. Then the AI started having issues. I think because the AI started buying cartography ships, which they, as we saw, can't gather maps correctly, so they weren't making money as well. He was essentially just relying on fishing ships, and then he had this. He started exploring. Essentially, it was the only thing that was making him enough money was exploring. So he failed here because he sent his fishing ship to explore. And then he had a second ship that was not very good at fishing. And then he sorted that out. And it's very consistent, relatively consistent, but he was mostly relying on finding gold. Then he had his huge breakthrough where he had he had found like 3 treasure chests like right next to each other or something, and just got oodles of gold. And that's when he started relying on interest to make most of his gold, and he bought a bunch of ships. And so it became very spiky because it's essentially dependent on how much gold he found at shipwrecks and such. Like that period was much less. I realize now it would be very interesting to see where gold was made. So it'd be cool to have a breakdown, like he got this much gold from fish, this much gold from passengers, this much gold from what have you, corn. So yeah. And then this period did very poor because essentially that's probably just his fishing fleet, because I wasn't controlling his ships as closely as he was. Alright, let's end the game. 6 ships. See, that 7,000 was his best period. He only failed one. But if the AI was more competent, I think he would have struggled. So, because he's playing under my account, got the winning spot. When I play, I don't buy the leaderboard upgrade so that my scores don't get tracked, but he did. All right, let's fix some things. So, kind of related to the cartographer is that their ships actually are given upgrade trees, and they really don't need them since they upgrade completely differently. Typing's going to be really annoying. Only players use upgrade trees. So I need to have their own attributes. Whew. That typing is abysmal. I'm sure you can see how bad that's typing. interesting. Microsoft Defender is going nuts right now. I wonder if it's because something is, it's like changing the files or something and making it scan constantly. Can I pause it? I thought there was like a pause or something. Give me a moment, please. Yeah, the Windows Defender was totally just going ballistic there. I thought there was some setting in Windows Defender where you could tell it not to scan due to a particular executable. So there's something exclusions. I do apologize that I am slightly distracted. Ah, there. All right, well, let's see if that does trick. Maybe slightly better. Definitely didn't hurt. All right, so good thing is scripting won't ever trigger, as it shouldn't anyway. Out of curiosity, where else do we access upgrades? 20 references. Should all be related to player stuff, generally. Okay. Okay, so now the AI ships should not be making upgrade trees. It's just a waste of their time. Now we need to make the simulation of cartography better for them. Trying to decide how much of the actual mapping I want to use. change this to be simulated. Typing is so much better. Oh, that makes me feel so much better. I hope that it was actually the issue all along. I'm surprised I didn't notice it last time. So I was just remembering that. So right now in what's released to the public, you only can see one node past the nodes you've actually attained on the upgrade tree. Though in the version that we were just watching, the version I have, I actually extended that to 2. That being that I was getting annoyed that I couldn't see deep enough in the tree, and so I was like, oh, well, maybe I should have default be 2. The downside of having the default be 2 nodes into past what you own is that for a new player that seems very overwhelming. Like, oh my god, there's so many choices. So what I want to do is make a vision range, but for upgrades as an attribute you can choose. So new players probably will just accidentally choose it, whatever, no big deal. But at least in the beginning, they will only be able to see one node past what they own. It'll be less choices. It won't feel as overwhelming. But then an advanced player will be like, oh, I know what nodes I'm looking for. I'm not scared of choices. They can specifically choose to see more of the upgrade tree. It's very similar to the on-site upgrades. In fact, what I can probably do is right now there's tons of those insight upgrades. I could probably just reduce the number of insight upgrades, because being able to just every time you choose an upgrade, you get to see further in the tree, like that will help balance it, your vision. From what I've seen, a lot of people don't like to choose the insight upgrades. They worry that insight technically is a high tier upgrade, and when you get a high tier upgrade, it makes all other high tier upgrades more expensive. So if they want to be optimal, they feel that they should never choose that. I think this is a nice happy medium. First, we're going to do the cartography ship, the AI cartography ship stuff. So what I'm kind of going down the route of is that I will use the built-in mapping cartography. Yeah, it was originally called mapping. I will use the built-in mapping, but what I'm going to make it do is essentially be read-only. I just finger quoted in the real world. It's not like you guys can see that. So I'm adding a parameter here, which is going to essentially become read-only. because ultimately we really just want the players to change the shroud. Okay, and this is nice. So this is preventing, essentially you don't want to change the shroud very often because it's computationally intensive. So this, if it is read-only, then this will always match, which means it will essentially say no changes. Excellent. So now we need to deal with vision range. AI doesn't really have a concept of vision range. I mean, they have it, but they don't use it, and they should use it, I think. Just to, instead of faking it, use what we got here. I feel like these can now be moved to here. Is simulated is player. Okay. So now they have, quote unquote, have vision. They never actually use the vision game object, or that's what allows you to see and all that. So it doesn't actually do anything, but they can now use the vision stat, and nothing will actually change. Though technically that actually worked as intended before. What we need to do is on the competitor, that's the company ship. Essentially need to expose various stats and let them modify them freely. I've already been doing that with like movement rate, and movement speed and such. Just it wasn't as user friendly. All that ain't user friendly. Changing cargo capacity. Well, I can't really set it, can I? Because vision range is a calculation. So actually, ooh, yes, this is dangerous. Include Commodore when applicable. That should be based on if it's simulated or not, and Skipper too. Because AI companies don't have a conception of Skipper upgrade tree or Commodore upgrade tree. So originally this is all programmed presuming that there were no AI companies. I kind of want to cache that, but it's not worth my time. It's very minor. There's not many units going on to worry about caching that. Now, my RTS, I probably would have cached it. Borrow this concept over here. Oh, I don't need this. So this is actually offset. I need to look up something. Remind myself how I did. So I do have a get and a set. Okay. Well, wait. Because this is that's the sum. Ancient. Not applicable. Should be a try get value of a key. That's really what needs to be done. This is all done with attributes, which is like a summation. Why is this even here? This is like super ancient stuff. This is super duper 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 ancient stuff. This is actually from a game I never published. 20. Oh man, it would have been like 2014 or something. Thank you, Visual Studio. Undirty is not a word. I know. Typing slow again. Says the real-time protection is still off. That was me trying to go to Task Manager and I was typing faster than it could show up. It is Visual Studio. Okay, so now that we have that, the contribution is from ourselves. Then we need the same concept for our cartography. I need to come up with unique keys. I can't just use this. I realize this is confusing from an outsider's perspective. By all means, ask. Though I'll probably mumble something out loud. Yeah, if I had more than one, I think I would have been overwriting it. So in no-reloading, so attributes are just a general way of doing role-playing game style stats. So you can get stats from a variety of sources, right? So like in Dungeons and Dragons, you can get strength from an item you're wearing, or you could have a magic buff that temporarily gives you strength, right? You have different sources of strength. The contributions are just a list of those various contributions to a stat, any stat. So no reloading, I had multi-key essentially to differentiate the potential variety of sources. In this, I just have a singular key. But that means I can't use the same key more than once. So like what's starting to emerge is that the AI ships are just buffing their own ships directly. And I was just using that script as the key, but I need to have varieties of keys. So I was just using a hash code, which is exactly what I was leaning towards for this, is I would do a hash code of the attribute and the ship, I guess. Well, it actually I just need the attribute. So I could technically, so I was actually going to do a hash code of the key itself and the key's attribute. That would be a universal fix. May have unintended consequences, but I don't feel any unintended consequences. My gut doesn't say there's unintended consequences, but there's always a chance. All the different, all the variants of setting is all done by AI. So this is really the only other place, which is done by the various upgrade scripts, adding their own contributions. So upgrades themselves should be adding contributions. Where is that happening? Oh, it's probably using add. Yeah. Yep, and it has its own custom key that combines. It seems like it's kind of the responsibility of whoever is adding or removing to set the key, so that means we'll just make it the responsibility of the AI ship. Just provide a unique key. Instead of right now, I mean, I could switch it to have kind of a universal fix that would create unique keys, but that would be a bigger change that I don't want to incur right now. What? This is easier than, this is even easier because there's only one key. I mean, there's only one vision range. It can use the attribute as the key. Easy peasy. This can use cartography as the key. Easy peasy. Easy peasy. Also means that these could be done by contributions. Cargo can be done, is already done with contributions, but we can formalize it here. there's clearly a pattern. We can turn this to a generic function. Then just need to do the same thing with integers. Now, that being said, I'm still going to keep the cargo capacity just because it's easier. But I'm just going to call these. Purely for convenience. And do the same thing with cargo capacity. And all that is just to make this easier, because this is just getting the current cargo capacity and adding one. So now it's just this plus plus, if I could type there. Easy. So all that is done because we need to now mimic vision and cartography So fun fact, AIs just try to mimic your ships. And there's choosing a ship with a similar stats is what they're going for. So like if it is a cartography ship, it's just looking for a ship, a player ship with lots of cartography. Why is this here twice? Clearly, I was copying and pasting, and I was going to mimic something else, and I apparently didn't. That being said, speed, acceleration, turn speed seem to be the... So now that we have this convenience, let's make it so they try to mimic work rate. This is a multiplier. So one always has to keep track of whether you're dealing with multipliers or multiplier offsets. This is gathering rate multiplier. Fishing rate multiplier. So players usually think in terms of offsets, but your math works off of the actual multiplier. Yeah, see, this is me because I needed the multiplayer offset. I also need to exclude the skipper. Technically, players always upgrade by 2 capacity, so they can upgrade by 2 capacity. Actually, I could have done the comparison because that's just for comparing. So really, I didn't need to split this up because as long as you're comparing the same type of thing to the same type of thing, it don't matter none. Put that back the way it was. This can still use multiplier as long as this also uses multiplier. Same thing, we can, as long as we're comparing the same thing. Doesn't really matter. No, I didn't make a convenient property for that, but we can. I realize I'm making a lot of these kind of boilerplate. So, and I'm only doing it for the easiness of multiplying. So what I could do is make a function that just multiplies. And if I end up adding many more, I probably will. These are just make life easier. But when you have a bazillion of them, then if any pattern changes, you have to update them all. All right, so that's vision rate, and we got to do cartography. Okay, so they now mimic vision range cartography, which means that this guy needs to start with one cartography. And that should trigger him to schedule his mapping automatically. Actually, we need to, where was it? So we tell it to pick up map fragments, but we actually, since he will be passively getting map fragments now, that should be set to null. So he doesn't actually pick up a map fragment just for arriving at his destination. And then I just need to make sure that target the resource type. I think this needs to be, because now atlases take space. This needs to be atlases. Does this use anymore now? This could easily just be atlases. Gotta ask my wife a question. I will be back. All right. I have like 15 minutes. Can only do that if it's null. If it's not null. So really, if it's null, then it's done. But we do need a just general change to selling if we're full. Okay. Now, cartographers need to be a bit smarter. I think I had it. Yes, I have it here. Okay, well, I think that might work. So let's check it off. Got to review that. And then so many items, I have to read them all. Yes, like that. Okay. Okay, well, I am satisfied with that progress for now, given that was just in 2 hours, I guess. Um, I'll have to test it next time. I gotta cook dinner. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas.